Hello, it's Jill. Hope you're well. Thinking about the Elohim again. Really finding this study fascinating. This idea of God as plural, or using the plural form. And a number of you have been saying different things. Some have said, it's the Trinity when Elohim is used in the plural. That doesn't really hold up. If you look at the Hebrew language, the exegesis and grammar of the Hebrew, it doesn't work for a Trinity. And besides which, the Trinity, strictly speaking, isn't about three separate people. It's one, indivisible one. So you wouldn't use plural for it. That's not good theology. Besides which, Psalm 82 is the sticking point, because you've got God in his assembly, Yahweh in his assembly, complaining to the other Elohim about, they're not really doing a good job of looking after the world. So you've got this suggestion that he's allocated, the responsibility for managing and overseeing earth to these other gods, and they're not doing a good job of it. So that wouldn't make sense that God would be telling off the Holy Spirit and the Son. It wouldn't be good theology either. It's completely untenable. So where do we go with it? Well, mostly, as I said last week, it's Elohim is used for Yahweh, but there are a number of other ways in which Elohim is used if you were going to analyse them. And there are 6, in fact, so let me just tell you they are. You have, first of all, Yahweh, God of Israel. Thousands of times Elohim is used that way. But then you've got the members of Yahweh's council. So an example of that is what I've just said, Psalm 82, verses 1 to 6. You've also got gods and goddesses of other nations. Let me just see if I can give you an example of that. This is obviously some kind of territorial contest. Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, and he's saying, what right have you to take over this land, basically? Will you not take what your God, Chemosh, gives you? And for that word God, you have Elohim. Another use of Elohim is for demons. Sometimes it's used for shedim. So the Hebrew word for demons is shedim. And here in Deuteronomy 32, let me just find it. Some of the Israelites go and worship other gods. They sacrifice to demons which are not God, God with a capital G, Yahweh. Gods they had not known, gods that recently appeared, gods your fathers did not fear. So all of those gods with a small g, and it's Elohim. So what can we say if there's such a disparate group and it can mean so many different things? How could we define Elohim? Well, the only way to do so is to say that it's a term of residence, that it applies as a generic term to spirits that dwell or inhabit the unseen realm. There's quite a diverse group, from Yahweh himself to the sons of God, to angels, to ancestors. We talked about Samuel last week, who was Saul wanted to speak to Samuel, so he went to a medium to invoke his spirit so that he could ask him questions. So that the word Elohim was used there. And I just find this really fascinating. This is not taught in church. I didn't learn this as a theology student. So I didn't just do an undergraduate degree. I did a postgraduate degree in theology and religious studies, and I never knew this until just now, just through reading this book, The Unseen Realm, by Michael Heiser. So what I am learning is really encouraging me to explore further and to become an independent student again. because there is a supernatural worldview that we've lost in our modern post-Enlightenment academic form of Bible study. And we're not really seeing through the lens of the people who wrote the Bible and read the Bible at the time, contemporaries. And so we can't have a clear understanding. And what it's doing is it's opening up the supernatural world. Now, I know the truth of the supernatural world. I know it from the work I do as a reconnective healing practitioner. It's become something that I don't question. It did used to astonish me, not freak me out, not scare me, but it just used to be like, how do I explain this? And of course, the explanation is that there is more than we realise all around us, all the time. These different dimensional realities, and the Bible would call these, that would use the word in the air. It talks about things being in the air, like the sons of God in the air. And the angels are depicted with wings, aren't they, in the biblical illustrated Bibles and in all art through the centuries. And it's because they inhabit the astral realm, the spiritual realm. You might say, well, you've got to be careful, you don't know what you're messing with. This is why it matters to really understand. To understand who are the good guys and the bad guys, and who you are in alignment with, who you're showing your loyalty to, who you're choosing to follow, and how you're using your light, what you're channeling and contributing, who you're serving. So, fascinating area of study. So Yahweh is one of the Elohim. He is an Elohim in that he can show up as a person. The angel of the Lord appears in certain places in the Bible, and that's Yahweh taking on form. All of this is a kind of prerequisite. It's conditioning us, or the Israelites, to prepare for thinking of God as a person. It's an anthropomorphic manifestation of Yahweh. And all of that is leading towards the incarnation, pointing towards Jesus as Yahweh coming to dwell among us. So you see everything being orchestrated towards that end. And the clues are there if you look for them. So, are all Elohim alike? Well, obviously not. An Israelite would certainly not say that your dead ancestor or a demon was on the same level as Yahweh. So we have this hierarchy whereby Yahweh is the one true God, Most High God, and he has this council. He doesn't need them. He doesn't need their power. It's not as though he can't function without them, but it explains that they're there as sort of watchers. In Genesis, for example, you have, let us make humankind in our image. Let's do this. I've got an idea. And them saying, yeah, okay. A bit like if I said to you, let's have a pizza, let's go for, let's have a party, let's go and do something. Then it would be for me to organise it. I've initiated it. I've had the inspiration. It's on me to make it happen. And so it doesn't mean that I'm reliant on the other people. It's just that you're sharing with an audience. There are others there watching. I'm not making this up. This is referred to in another place in the Bible, in Job. It says that God was, the sons of God were there at the foundation of the earth, when the foundations of the earth were rolled out. So they were present, but not the creators. Okay, so there are consistencies when you start pulling at a thread, you find it actually coheres and holds together. There's this organisation and hierarchy. So let's just take a minute to think about what that means for us, not just studying it, understanding with the mind, but with the heart. I'm going to invite you to just take a few moments to sit quietly with me, shift gears. Let's go from the head to the heart. And just ask the question, perhaps holding your hand on your heart. What does this mean for me? How does this change, increase, expand my awareness, deepen my understanding? I just have this image that's come to me of people stepping closer, like a circle around you. I invite you to imagine that in your mind's eye. And if you're not very good at visualizing, just think it and know it. Become aware of a presence. Become aware that you are not alone. Know that this presence is loving. It's a family of light, a soul family that has been with you from the beginning of time, is with you now and will always be with you. You are never alone, never forgotten, never abandoned. And even while you are continuing doing your thing, busy in your day, they are there. Always supporting you, always there to whisper in your ear a word of reassurance or guidance. Just ask, they're saying. Acknowledge us, recognize us. I'm getting tingling here around my head. You might notice something now too. In fact, let's play a little game. I asked you to imagine this circle around you. That's your aura, let's say, your energetic sphere, your field of energy. And they are in it with you. But let's just ask them for a moment to step back out of your field. Do that now. Did you notice anything different? Now ask them to step back in and draw closer. How does that feel? Thank them for their loving presence. Thank them for their support and companionship. Know that this can never change. Whatever happens, it's not dependent upon how you are, how you behave, what you say, think, or do. It's not conditional. This is grace. This is unconditional love. When you recognize this team, this loving family of light in your life, and you have a supernatural worldview, everything changes. Some things will be the same. The street on which you live, the car you drive, the supermarket you go to, the job you go to, the people who you work with. but somehow it will all be different. You will interpret events of your life differently. And you'll start to look forward to spending time with your family in your inner world, in the unseen realm. It's real. And they want to get to know you. They want to spend time with you and have fellowship with you, communion with you. So just acknowledge them now. And if it helps, we'll use visualization next time to create a place where you can meet with your family, your own team. But for now, just thank them, give them your love. Open your eyes if you've had your eyes closed. I just find I automatically close my eyes when I go into this state of awareness. Just bring yourself back to your surroundings, the role self, where you're sitting, what you're doing, what you need to do next in your day, and just take a deep breath. How did that feel? It's wonderful, isn't it? Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.